In today's video, I will reveal the exact step-by-step process and cold email framework that I use to generate over 1,000 qualified B2B sales opportunities over the last 3 years. Now, after this video, you will be able to copy and paste the exact same framework that I share with you so you can go do outreach to your ideal fit prospects and turn those leads into paying customers. Now let's dive into the video. So if you don't know me, my name is Isaac Wood. I'm the founder of lovergrowth.io. On the screen here, you'll see a couple screenshots of some of our recent campaign results from 2025, showing how, we're actually leveraging the tools and skills that I'm sharing with you in these videos, just to give you a little proof and context around, the proof is in the pudding here. Wanted to share a recent client testimonial video. This is on my YouTube channel. You can check it out as well. But we helped him bring on 135K in new revenue collected in 90 days. So again, just trying to show you how this process works for real customers in January 2025. Today's video, what are we going to learn? First, we're going to talk about the anatomy of cold email and the framework that I use. Then we'll give you the step-by-step process so you can write cold emails that will actually get replies from people that are decision makers and CEOs at top-notch businesses in your target market. And then I'm going to give you a few examples that you can actually use, copy, paste, and apply into your own campaigns. So let's talk about cold email. It's very simple. A lot of people overcomplicate it. There's a lot of different frameworks online, but this is the core element of a cold email. First thing will always be the subject line. This gets the lead to actually open the email. You have your first line. So many people will call this like a personalized line or a relevancy line. So this is really going to be the relevant reason that you're reaching out to that prospect in the first place. The next is value proposition. So this is, in other words, what your offer is to the prospect and how it solves your lead's pain points. Next, we have social proof. So this is a case study proving you've helped similar companies. And then we have a call to action. In short, what should the prospect do next after reading your email? So the most important thing to test in any cold email is simply going to be your value proposition. This is the end result of the pain that your offer solves for, right? So end of the day, you can bucket most of what any B2B business does into these three simplified buckets. You can either help them increase their customer value, help them sign more clients, in other words, just help them make more money, or you can help them save money, or you can help them save time, right? Everything else is going to be nuanced, but these are the three core buckets that we'll look to create our value propositions. In terms of actually testing and understanding which value propositions work, which aren't working, our goal is to get a statistically significant data set by sending at least 500 emails per value prop, right? So we want to isolate this value proposition. So we'll start by using a similar framework for that initial email with the exact same personalization or first line, right? So that isolates your variable that you want to test and allows you to understand with clarity over time what is actually working and what is not working. So what we're actually targeting here is 1 to 200 interested reply ratio or a 1 to 100 interested reply ratio, which would indicate a very, very good value proposition. So in human terms, what does that mean? One interested reply of every 200 leads that you reach out to will say, hey, I'm actually interested in your offer. If you are higher than that, that means that you have a lot of work to do in terms of getting your value proposition more dialed in. The goal here, right, like I said, testing one value proposition for every 500 contacts. And just to start out, you want to test 4 to 6 versions for your campaign. Once you've completed your first round of campaign tests, you'll take the winning angle or multiple angles and use that as the new starting point. So then you'll continue to refine your value propositions over time so you can push that through the rest of your target audience. Once you've reached your entire target audience, you can go back to the top with your new, more validated value propositions and continue to test and work until you get to that 1 to 100 ratio. So once you've found those value props, you'll want to continue to optimize it. But again, right, like first step is going to be your value proposition. And then from there, you're going to be testing different variations of copy style. You'll want to test different types of subject lines, different types of calls to action, and different levels of personalization. Once you've nailed this ratio of 1 to 200, or even better, 1 to 100, then you're ready to scale up your volume and just go nuts. So to do value prop research, right? It's easy to say, hey, we want to test a bunch of value props. Like, what does that even mean? You probably want to know how you should actually come up with that. And so the best way to do this is simply to speak with your customers. So you'll ask them what they found most valuable about your service, what pains that you solved for that was most pressing, and actually why they transacted with you. And if you know that, then you're going to have a really good jump start on getting a campaign that works. If you don't have this, or you're looking for additional creative ways to come up with new value propositions, you can just do research with ChatGPT. So you'll prompt it and jam your prompt with as much context around your offer and your target audience as possible. This is going to get you the best results and the most specific kind of value propositions. And so this is a prompt that you can use to tailor to your own use case. So you're a cold email copywriting expert and you specialize in understanding the pain points of B2B marketing leaders, or insert your vertical in that target vertical, right? Give me a list of the top 10 biggest value props defined by their commercial impact they have on the business. So you'll get a list of 10 different value propositions, and you can use that as your starting point. The first go is rarely going to be your best outputs. So you'll want to continue to work and refine your prompt. You'll want to continue to ask it questions. You'll want to keep digging in and refining it, and use your human brain to actually self-select the best value propositions here. You can't just let it give you everything. You want to use some of your own subject matter expertise to make those decisions. In short, what's a value prop? It's a fancy way of saying, like, what is in it for the prospect. So your goal with any value prop is to first make sure that they understand the benefit to them, and then they should understand how you help them get the benefit, right? So 99% of people will only take action if they are directly impacted. It is simply human nature, right? Also, another key thing to remember here is, like, the confused mind will take no action. So make sure that you're giving a lot of context into how you get results with your unique process. Talked to quite a few sales leaders. Some of them are less experienced. They'll try to feature drop or overload the prospect. And in conversations, I'll hear things like, hey, we do a lot of things for our customers. Each process is going to be super custom. Not everyone's getting the same delivery. That's all right. We're going to ultimately let the campaign feedback tell us what is most resonant in your target market, right? So they're going to tell us which part of your service delivery is going to be the most appealing. And so that's why we're really focusing on testing just one value prop per email. So here's a couple examples of value props and how you want to think about it, right? So if you're talking about adding more revenue, we'll add 300 to 500K in qualified pipeline by targeting high intent Google Ads keywords. We'll reduce your cost of customer acquisition. So we'll reduce customer acquisition costs by 10% with high volume meta ad split tests, or something like, if you want to save them money, we can help you save $75,000 in wasted spend by identifying low utility software subscriptions with our expense line audit. So a quick note on, like, the sequencing around your campaign. So in order to simplify this process, I'll use a basic 3-step campaign. The first step will focus on testing the value prop. The second email will offer a lead magnet that's specifically related to that first value prop, and it adds additional context while lowering the friction. Usually that means offering like a Loom video or some helpful guide, a tutorial, a case study, something that's really easy to say yes to. And then the third email will ask for a referral, basically saying, hey, like, are you the right person? If not, could you point me in the direction of the person who is? So now that you have your value props, that's great. That's the first step. Now let's build your campaign around them. First thing we'll think about is personalization. And the way you do that is starting with the end in mind. I ask this question to all of my clients. If you had 1 hour to research your prospect before you did outreach, what would you look for? Right, this is a great spot to start in terms of targeting and personalization. And your goal with personalization is to say something that's relevant to their situation so you can get their attention. Mentioning their college mascot or an irrelevant observation about a LinkedIn post are low value conversation starters and are not going to move the needle in the same way as like an email that's giving a specific and relevant reason why you're reaching out, right? That's going to get the best results. And really, I like to say there are 4 main buckets for relevant personalizations. You have your problems, you have competition, you have something that exists or is true about their business that makes them a good fit, or you could just say, hey, I saw something about your case studies, right? So these are all relevant reasons, and you want to tie your value prop to your personalization. So here's an example. Assuming you're selling a service like an interactive demo platform for a B2B software, right? After reviewing your best customers, you realize they all run a demo-led sales process. And because you've done this a million different times, you know that most B2B SaaS are running this type of sales motion will have a book a demo button on their website. So now we know that the company has book a demo button on their website, they would be a good fit, right? So that's qualification, that's going to be filtering, that's going to be list building. And you can scrape this data using Clay. And I'd suggest I have a lot of different tutorials around Clay on my YouTube. So just go and check that out and I'll give you some more context. If the prospect looks similar to your best performing customers, then this is going to be a really good entry point for a conversation and where I really recommend that personalization, right? So in this example, you can say something like, hey, I came across your company's website and I noticed that you're using a demo-led sales process. And then you enter in the rest of the email. Because we're testing value props, I wanted to share that first, but now let's talk about subject lines. Really the goal here is to create enough intrigue for the prospect to actually open the email. So the best performing subject lines are going to be just 3 words and something that the prospect would recognize. Avoid being overly generic, using things like quick question. Instead, you want to mention something relating to your offer like value prop question or speed to lead question or Q1, enter your value prop goals, right? Something that's relevant. Then let's add social proof, right? So make sure you validate your claim by providing a name of the company that you've helped. This will build trust and gives the prospect a frame of reference to understand what types of customers that you actually work with. So use a case study that is related to the industry you're targeting in your campaign, and this will increase the prospect's internal belief that they can actually get the result, right? So people aren't going to take action if they don't have the pain. They're not going to take action if they don't believe you either. So this is why you really need to add social proof in every single email you ever send out. Now we have calls to action, right? So the purpose of your call to action is to generate a response from your prospect. So we do this by minimizing your friction in our ask because we want them to engage with us. We're not trying to close a deal right in the email. We're just asking to take a step closer to us, right? So the easier it is for your prospect to say yes, the better. That's why we'll ask an open-ended question, right? So things like, does that sound interesting? Mind if I share more information? Are you open to learning more? Can I share some more ideas I had that would help you achieve this specific result? Those are all going to be low friction asks. Prospect says yes very easily. You deliver what you say you're going to, and then you push for the meeting in that follow-up email. A higher friction ask is going to include pushing for something specific like a meeting, right? It's higher friction because it requires the prospect to give you 30 minutes of their time to actually get what it is that you're offering them, right? So you could do this simply saying, hey, what works next Tuesday for a 15-minute chat to show you how we can help you get result, right? And so result would be whatever your value proposition is, whatever that big core offer that you're making to them. So in putting this all together, right? So this is the core framework. So you just say, hey, first name, then you enter that first line. If I could help value proposition like we did for case study, is that something you'd be interested in hearing more about? And then just have your salutation and a PS line if you want, but this is really the basics of it. I know this looks very, very easy, but again, the core here is that you're isolating your variables, and by isolating your variables, you're more easily going to know what is actually resonating with your target audience and what is actually driving responses. So here are some examples. I'm going to read through them right now. Hey, first name, I saw you were running Meta video ads, but you haven't updated them in a while. Are you looking for ways to produce more new video ad creative? If I could help you create 5 high converting video ads per day with our video concepting and iteration process, validated by 2.5 million viral ad formats, like we did for a case study, Is that something you'd be interested in hearing more about? Hey, first name, I noticed you're running a sales-led motion. Are you looking for more ways to qualify your inbound leads without needing to hire more SDRs? If I could help you convert 25 more qualified leads per month with our interactive demo platform that automatically qualifies inbound leads and outreaches to the highest quality prospects, like we did for case study, is that something you'd be interested about? Hey, first name, I noticed you attended the conference last fall. Are you currently planning for any in-person events for your brands in 2025? If I could help you shorten your sales cycle for in-person event leads by at least 2 months with our automated lead nurturing system, like we did for company name, is that something you'd be interested in hearing more about? Right? So all 3 of these are going to be different value propositions. They're honestly different offers in completely different companies, but just to give you kind of like a sample of what they actually look like and what has actually been able to generate results for clients. And so again, right, the first line, it's always going to be something that's relevant to that prospect, making sure that you're coming in with a reason or a question that's getting them to uncover some kind of a pain point. And then you go into your value prop, right? So you have to be very specific. If it's vague or unclear, it's not going to resonate because prospect will not act if they're unsure, right? So you have to be very clear in your offer, and then you got to give them some context into what is actually happening there. If you're just painting very, very broad strokes, unless you have a very unique offer, then it's not really going to play out well for you. So be as specific as you can in your emails. And again, like this is the starting point that you start all your tests with, and then you build from there, right? The segue, you're going to start your campaigns using these frameworks. Once you do one cold email campaign, that's not going to be the end of the day for you, right? So the key to winning with cold email is simply testing your value props. I've talked to so many sales leaders who've launched their first campaign. They got 0 results. You can't just spin up a list and slap together some vague copy and turn your campaign on and ultimately expect just a tsunami of leads flowing onto your calendar. I call this finding message market fit, similar to finding product market fit, but basically it's like what message is actually going to fit your target market, right? So this is taking a lot of work. It's a real journey. It's not just like a switch you can turn on. The better that you understand your audience, your offer, and what makes people actually buy from you, the faster you'll find it. So instead of giving up and saying, hey, cold email does not work for me, you want to dig in and keep testing, right? So get more specific in your value prop, get more specific in calling out your audience's pain points. Again, specificity is super important here because it allows you to decommoditize yourself. And again, the focus is really just getting the prospect to really visualize and understand what it is you're offering. You can't make them connect the dots in their head. They're busy, they're in their inbox, they've got a lot of emails. And so you really have to stand out. So be as specific as possible, right? It's rare to see that someone who has tested 50 different value propositions who have not found a single winning angle. So if you continue to test and use the data and the interested replies as the basis for your next round of campaigns, you're going to find something that wins. You're just going to have to take the time and effort to really just dial it in, right? Like anything, nothing happens overnight if you have never done it before. So if you have, great, but this is the template. These are the keys to the castle. It's not that complicated. It's simple. You just got to keep pushing. So if you want help building your own campaigns, go to levergrowth.io, book a meeting. You'll speak with me. On that call, we'll have a discussion about your business, your lead getting process today, what your goals are. If it makes sense and there's a fit, we'll talk next steps on actually how to get started and working together. But I look forward to hearing from you guys. I will see you in the next video. Talk to you then. Peace.